Before we begin, if stories like this stay with you, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. The room didn't go quiet all at once. It happened in layers. First, the laughter stopped. Then the forks. Then even the background music, like someone had turned the entire world down just enough for one sentence to land harder than it should have. And all of it because of something my aunt said. It was my birthday. 36. Nothing big. Just dinner at my parents' house. Close family, a long table, too much food, and the kind of warmth that usually makes you forget everything else. My wife sat next to me, smiling, laughing at my cousin's dumb jokes, occasionally resting her hand on mine like we were still us. If you had asked me that night, before it happened, I would have said everything was fine. Not perfect, but fine. We'd been a little distant lately. Busy schedules. Less talking, more routine. The kind of quiet that creeps into a marriage slowly enough that you don't notice it until it's already there. Still, she showed up. She dressed up. She smiled. I took that as effort, as love. Maybe that was my first mistake. Dinner was loud. People talking over each other, passing dishes, teasing me about getting older. My uncle made a joke about my thinning patience, my mom rolled her eyes, and my wife laughed, really laughed. And for a moment, I felt okay. Like maybe I had imagined the distance. Like maybe things were going to settle again. Then my aunt spoke. She wasn't loud. She didn't stand up or demand attention. She just smiled, sipped her drink, and said casually, "I'm just glad you two worked things out after, well, you know." First, I didn't react. 'Cause I didn't know. "What do you mean?" I asked, half smiling, expecting some old story or misunderstanding. But she didn't answer right away. She looked at me, then at my wife. And that's when I saw it. The shift. The way my wife's smile faded, just a little too quickly. The way her hand slipped off mine. The way her eyes didn't meet mine anymore. And suddenly, I wasn't confused. I was afraid. "What do you mean?" I repeated, quieter this time. My aunt blinked, clearly realizing something was off. "Oh," she said softly. "I thought you told him." The room went still. Every single person at that table felt it. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. "Told me what?" I asked. But I wasn't looking at my aunt anymore. I was looking at my wife. She didn't answer. Not right away. And in that silence, everything started falling apart. "I think I should go," my aunt said quickly, her voice uneasy. "No," I said, sharper than I intended. "Stay. Because whatever this was, I needed to hear it. Not later. Not in private. Now." My wife finally looked at me. And I swear, I didn't recognize the expression on her face. It wasn't guilt. Not fully. It was something worse. Resignation. Like she had been waiting for this moment. And hoping it wouldn't come. "It's not what you think," she said quietly. That sentence. That exact sentence. It told me everything I needed to know. "What did you do?" I asked. My voice didn't shake. But something inside me did. She took a slow breath. "There was someone," she said. Past tense. Like that made it better. My chest tightened. "When?" I asked. "A few months ago," she replied. "It didn't last. It was a mistake." A mistake. The word echoed in my head like it didn't belong in the same sentence as 10 years of marriage. Around us, no one moved. No one spoke. My birthday dinner had turned into something else entirely. And I felt like the last person to understand it. "Who knew?" I asked. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. My mom looked down. My cousin shifted uncomfortably. And my aunt looked like she wished she could disappear. That's when it hit me. They all knew. I said, barely above a whisper. My wife shook her head quickly. "Not everyone. Just a few people." "I didn't want to hurt you." "You didn't want to hurt me?" I repeated. A hollow laugh escaped me. "You cheated on me. And let me sit here smiling while people who knew watched me like I was some kind of joke?" Tears filled her eyes. "It wasn't like that," she said. But it was. The rest of the night is a blur. People leaving quietly. Half-finished plates. My dad trying to say something then stopping. And my wife standing there crying as if that somehow balanced the scale. We drove home in silence. The kind that doesn't feel empty. Feels heavy. Once inside, I finally asked the question that had been sitting in my chest all night. Why didn't you tell me? She leaned against the wall, wiping her face. I was scared, she admitted. Of what? Of losing you. I stared at her. And for a second, I almost believed her. Because fear makes people do stupid things. But this wasn't just fear. This was a choice. Repeated. Hidden. Protected. Who was he? I asked. She hesitated. A coworker. Of course. It's always someone close enough to matter. And far enough to hide. Do you still talk to him? I asked. No, she said quickly. It's over. I ended it. I nodded slowly. Not because I believed her, but because it didn't matter anymore. That night I didn't sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. Her smile at dinner. Her hand on mine. The way she laughed like nothing was wrong. And suddenly every memory felt different. Like it had been rewritten without my permission. The next morning I made a decision. Not out of anger. Not out of revenge. Just clarity. I can't do this, I told her. Her face crumpled immediately. Please, she said. We can fix it. I shook my head. Maybe we could have, I said. If you had told me. If you had been honest. I paused. But you let me find out like that. In front of everyone. On my birthday. I didn't mean for it to happen that way, she whispered. I know, I said. And that was the truth. But it didn't change anything. I packed a bag that afternoon. Not much. Just enough to leave. As I stood at the door, she asked one last question. Do you still love me? I thought about it. About everything we had. Everything we lost. And everything she chose not to protect. Yes, I said finally. Her eyes filled with hope. Then I added. But not enough to stay. I walked out. Not because I wanted to. But because some lines once crossed don't lead back to where you started. Now, when I think about that night, I don't remember the laughter. I don't remember the food. I don't even remember the cake. I remember a single sentence. And the moment everything I believed in stopped being real.